All right. Before you start the meeting, Laura has a message for you guys that I'm going to play. Sorry, that was the wrong one. I'm going to try to do this, sorry. I think this is it. Sorry, I did practice this and it's different now. So.
Debbie, is the video in a different application?
It's just right here on my desktop. Yeah, any help would be.
So when you go to the screen share options, you'll have an option to choose a specific window, or you can choose to share your whole computer screen.
Okay.
So is the specific window that the video is in, is that what's selected?
Well, when I went to find the video, I go to, well, let's see, resume share. I'm just trying to, I don't even know.
Can you just minimize that Zoom window there, Deb? Minimize that. Or close it.
Just close it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now go back to screen share.
Okay.
And when you click screen share, it'll give you choices. It'll say screen, whiteboard, blah, 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 something like that. So
advanced sharing options.
So you don't get like 3 choices of like whiteboard and screen and stuff like that. No.
No, that's just it. It looks completely different than when I practiced this.
So what are your choices there? What can you do now from there?
Well, when I go to share screen, okay. Oh, now I see whiteboard.
Okay. Now choose screen. Do you see screen or desktop?
All I see is basic and advanced.
And do you have the video open?
Well, it's, do I need to open it first?
Try opening the video file first.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to the share option and hopefully it'll show at that point.
You see that?
No, you haven't shared your screen yet.
Okay.
So now when you go to share screen, you should have the option to, there it is.
Started just a couple weeks ago. And so I dove right in, and I'm sorry that I can't be with you today. My DAP program manager.
I'll start. Okay, here we go.
Hello, Arts Commissioners. It's Laura Becker. Some of you I know, and for those that don't know me, I am the new and returning Arts Program Manager. I started just a couple weeks ago, and so I dove right in, and I'm sorry that I can't be with you today. My dad passed away recently, and I'm tending to some family matters up in Tacoma this afternoon, so that is my reason for not being able to be present at this meeting. Debi Thompson is standing in as a staff liaison, and I'm sure she's going to do an amazing job. I look forward to seeing you all in November. I, at that time, will want to share a little bit more about myself, my work history, and my vision for the arts program moving forward. I think in these first couple weeks, I've been dealing with boards and commissions recruitment, which has just passed. That deadline passed on October 4th, so we're in the process of reviewing applications at this time. And I'm also paying attention and updating contracts, et cetera, for the Reeser public art projects. And those are going to be front and center for the next 6 months. So those are the things that I kind of immediately tackled coming into this position, but then also just, refamiliarizing myself with city staff, city protocol, all the things that are required to do the job. And so in any case, I'm so excited to meet you all, see you all in November. And I'm hopeful that we can do our typical celebration in December to, honor the commissioners that have served and just thank them for the energy and commitment that they have invested in their terms. So be thinking about that. And if you have any clever ideas for ways we could do that, or things that you would find enjoyable, perhaps a virtual meeting is not one of those things. So I'm open. If you have ideas, please reach out. You can get in touch with me. My email signature has all of my relevant details. So my phone number, office number, cell phone number, my email address. So you can reach out to me in any of those ways. I would love to, if you are open and comfortable with this, to schedule some one-on-one coffee dates, and we can do that in a way where we can socially distance and keep everyone safe. And only if you're comfortable with doing that. I know that I'm really eager to meet all the commissioners that I don't know, and there's a number of you that I've not yet met. So anyways, I will see you in November, and I look forward to sharing some time with all of you. So I hope you have a great meeting today, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing that. And thank you to Laura Becker for sending those wishes to us. And we look forward to seeing her next month. So without further ado, we will move ahead with our agenda. This meeting is called to order, and we will start with roll call. Please say present or here. Commissioner Lynn Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Rebecca Benoit.
Here. Sorry.
Commissioner Jim Blaich.
Present.
Alternate Destry Bunnell.
Here.
Commissioner April Rose Castillo.
Here.
Vice Chair Jayne Dahl.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon Dunham.
Here.
Commissioner Shelley Fagin.
Here.
Commissioner R. Ryan Hendricks.
Present.
Commissioner Shoshanna Lansberg.
Here.
Commissioner Sue Pike.
Here.
Commissioner Peg Silloway.
Here.
Commissioner Sydney Trimble.
Here.
Commissioner Gina Wilson.
Here.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. And also thank you to Vice Chair Jayne Dahl for serving as our wonderful timekeeper tonight. Thank you. All right, our next item, council updates. Do we have Council President Laura Mitchell in the Zoom room today?
I don't see anyone, or she's not in there.
Okay. Well, we can move forward, and if she comes, we will circle back to that. All right, so our next item is our artist spotlight. We are really fortunate to have such a wonderful wealth of expertise and diversity on our commission. And one of our commissioners, Commissioner Gina Wilson, is a visual artist. She has graciously agreed to be our artist spotlight this month. Gina recently finished a show called Teeter Totter, and I saw it in person, and it was really wonderful. And we're hoping that, not hoping, we are going to show video of that show that the gallery put together, and they have an interview of Gina embedded throughout. The gallery was Russo Lee Gallery. And so we will share that with everyone as a startup point, and then we will have a Q&A and comment period with Gina afterwards. Gina, before we share the video link, is there anything you would like to say beforehand?
I don't think so, no.
All right, and also, for those of you who may be familiar or not familiar, Gina has a mural in the downtown Beaverton area off of Farmington. It's on the north wall of Ichabod's, and you can see it from Farmington, and you can see it from the US Bank parking lot there. All right. Debbie, would you like me to share this from my end, or do you have it up? What works best for you?
Oh, that's right. Can you share it, please?
No problem.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Zoom's giving me an error message, Debbie.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
there it is.
No, we see it, Alison.
Oh, okay, so I'm not sure if it's going to share the audio. That's the error it's giving me. Let's see.
Oh. Yeah, we hear it.
We do.
Can you maximize it?
I think that the point
Make
of
it full screen
is a point of kind of mystery, a kind of unknown. We're making choices in a way that provides opportunities. We have to face questions. And that place of teetering to me is very interesting. It's a place where I'm very familiar in the work. The work often brings me to places where I'm teetering.
So you stop sharing, Alison.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Sorry, it's the Zoom is keeps pausing on me. Let's try this one more time.
Alison, sometimes it helps if you turn off your video.
Yeah, we go off video.
It helps if Alison goes off video because her computer is trying to put up so much data. So if she's trying to show a video, it helps to turn her camera off. Not that we don't like seeing her.
And Alison, if you could maximize it once you get it started, that would be great. Perfect, thank you. Well, no, not so perfect.
No, maximize it.
I think that the point
It's
of
off to the side now.
A point of kind of mystery, a kind of unknown.
Yeah, we can't see it. We can't see it.
The
bottom left. The bottom left.
Provides opportunities. We have to face questions. And that place of teetering to me is very.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. It is maximized and it's looking fine on my end. So I'm sorry it's not.
Oh, yeah, it was weird. It was like cutting it in half.
Yeah, I'm
press off to the left.
Yeah, I apologize. It was maximized in full screen and everything. Debbie, you have the link on your end open?
Let me see if I can find it.
I mean, worst case scenario, you can share the link with us and we can all play at the same time. And then come back to them.
Do that. Do that.
Okay. Sorry, I have to, it's complicated. I have to toggle back and forth. Let's see.
Gina, do you have it? Oh.
So how about in the interest of time, and since Mercury's in retrograde with with all of our tech devices, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And
I was going to say that's big retrograde energy, so I appreciate that.
Okay, I have the link. Should I try it?
Sure.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay, thanks, Debbie.
You bet. Where did it go? Oh, where'd it go? Okay, just that. Do you guys see my screen coming up?
Yes, we see your screen.
Okay, here, I think I'm there. Let's see if it works.
Maximize the video, that lower button in the lower right of the video. Not that one. Down there, yeah. Right there. Up. Right there. Right there.
Is there sound?
Your volume is off, so your speaker's turned off. So
you know what the problem is? It's
the speaker's off.
There you go. It's on now.
We have to face questioning. That place of teetering is very interesting. I think that the point of teetering is a point of kind of mystery, a kind of unknown. We're making choices in a way that provides opportunities. We have to face questions. And that place of teetering to me is very interesting. It's a place where I'm very familiar in the work. The work often.
Sorry.
So
this is because I have to do this from the city drive.
You know, it looks like this is a link at the Laura Russo studio.
Kept coming up in my mind.
If you just click.
The first time I really ever titled a show, that was also a place of teetering. Do I put words up there? Do I not? I think that I am an artist of schooling, and schooling brings many words and many different thoughts that artists have had over time. I'm also Western, so there's a lot of thoughts that go on in relationship to the history of art. I sort of look work and myself in a relationship like a tree and soil. I'm the soil that the work grows from, but I'm not the work. It stands on its own now, and if I had something that perhaps is a narrative, then perhaps I would be speaking it and talking it. I have words inside of me. They come out. It's not meant to be a linear story, because there's more to me than the words. It's a mixture of all of who I am. In school, looking at the history of art and all the variety that different artists would come at with sureness, and this is what should be done, and here's the river of art. When you shuffle it all down, it seemed that art innately requires only one thing, and that is for a human being to declare it art. So I knew that I couldn't not be a part of this. think the words are a reflection of what's going on inside me at the time. They are dealt with not only with thought, but just visually, you know, that they become surface and they become texture and they become visual elements as much as they are a reflection of the thoughts that were in me at the time. The work isn't pre-planned. I'm very process-oriented. And so the process flips from different concerns at different moments. It's a kind of a challenge, it's a teetering for me what to say to viewers, because the work isn't me anymore. The work stands on its own, and really each of us as a viewer now comes into conversation with it. And I think perhaps artists speak of their work in a way that would be helpful if other artists spoke to them about their work. And often I find, for me, when I know something more about the background of imagery, I lose an ability to see the work through my own eyes and have my own conversation with it. Well, I think you can't help but have a certain amount of affinity for the arts when you're raised in the arts. We grew outside Chicago, and so we had the Art Institute to go to. I'm in maybe middle school when the show with Matisse from Russia comes. It was the first time really where I'm in this room with these huge paintings, and in my mind, I'm there all by myself. I don't even know anybody else is there. And it just, I had no idea what this experience was. I mentioned to a friend saying it was kind of like, you know, you see a train go by and you see in the window a face of somebody who somehow seems familiar and recognizable, but you don't know what was that, and then they're gone. You know, it's like you just sort of see this show and it's just, what was that? You know, I buy the poster, of course. I take it to college with me 8 years later. I would say that I'm working on something and I'm feeling either the way in which you're teetering in it, you're not really sure what, and then you can turn to a different material and just suddenly things are fresh and you're working again, and you can put the other things away for a little while. And then you bring them out and you're kind of surprised by them a bit. And then it's like, it feels more obvious what needs to be done or what's interesting to be done. So they are all worked on at the same time. Nothing ever really feels, oh, like I know how to do this. It always feels a bit teetering.
Congratulations, Gina.
Thank you.
For those of you who want to watch it later, I put the YouTube link to the full video in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you can see the work on the website too of the Russo Lee. They have all the images up there. That was the first opening they'd had in a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a milestone.
It was.
I will add that the Russo Lee Gallery link to the chat also for folks.
Mm-hmm.
Gina, thank you so much for sharing your work with us. And it was really wonderful to see it in person. And it's hard to choose a favorite, but I really loved the ironing boards and maybe giving them a new life in that way. So
it's interesting to take this, what once was a tree and then became a tool and now has become a piece of art. You know, it's a interesting transition for the thing.
Right, absolutely. I was hoping you could share with the group a little about being process oriented and what that means in your work.
I think that the work is always a process of conversation. So what happens in the work influences me. And I'm sure this is a familiar story to a lot of you, you know, that you're really, I may start out with something like I had a thought, what I might want to do, but it never ends up there. It's always, what interests me is the conversation between it. It's between myself and the thing. And I was thinking to myself today, you know, how in some ways, the way in which you approach art may be the same way we approach the city of Beaverton. You know, that we have thoughts and ideas about what the city might be or could be, but we're always in conversation with it, you know, and we're not so sure of our vision that we're closed to what could be, you know, from all the other experiences that we have with each other and with the city. And just a kind of an interesting thought for me, as I often feel that my process in the studio shows me how to live my life.
Yes, I agree. There's this symbiotic, reciprocal relationship between our human experience and our art experience. Absolutely. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments for Gina?
Thanks, Rebecca.
Lots of applause from the group.
Yay! Thank you.
Gina, do you have any other shows on the horizon that we should know about at this time?
No, not at this point. Yeah, just kind of taking a deep breath.
Right, absolutely.
Thank you, Alison.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Gina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is a project spotlight. We are thrilled to have Lulú Ballesteros from THPRD with us tonight. THPRD is the acronym for Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. And she is sharing a project called Talking Walls with us. This is a public art mural project that is centered on racial justice and youth activism. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Lulú so she can tell us more about the project. Welcome, Lulú.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having me here with you all today. And Alison, everybody here. I know a few of those wonderful names. And my name is Lulú Ballesteros. I'm part of the communications team at THPRD, which is Parks and Rec. And I'm the cultural inclusion specialist. And today we want to share with you all a wonderful project. Like Alison said, it's called the Talking Walls. And I will share a little bit more about that. I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. You can all see it, I'm guessing. Yes. So the Talking Walls. Maybe some of you have seen a few murals that we have had the fortunate to pop in one or the other park. So let me tell you a little bit more about that. And let's start with a bit of a background where it all came from, the idea. So basically, let's go back late March 2020. There was a murder of George Floyd, the many before, the many after. We had the Black Lives Matter movement full on. The pandemic was very new still to all of us. So all the situations were going on in in this country and all over the world. So that's when in early June, our general manager, Doug Menke, shared a very important message about how we wanted to stand with the community for racial and social justice. But also within the community and within THPRD, there were many conversations regarding how can we express the same solidarity, feeling of solidarity through art, spaces, youth, organizations, what was important. For example, some of us went to the Sunset High School Black Student Union. They did a walk in support for the Black Lives Matter. We were all there. So all this intent and energy, mostly youth-led, was there. So this is when we came up with 2 pilot programs. The main objective is to create a space for expression and community gathering. And for this, many departments within THPRD came together and we started having these conversations, right? So it should be a positive space, a place of inspiration, connection, but with social and racial justice in mind. We also were dealing, as always, with some graffiti in the form of vandalism. So many conversations were going on. So basically, we reached out to, first of all, students and youth, and we came to the conclusion that we would open up with 2 starting projects. It's the Talking Walls and the Message Garden. The Message Garden is painted rocks. We have 2 THPRD parks that have message gardens. These rocks provide messages for the community, and those are wonderful. But today I'm gonna focus on the Talking Walls. Well, basically, first off, what is a talking wall? So it's any form of expression or storytelling that has to do with socially relevant themes. It normally is represented as a mural, but it can be really any form of art. And again, the objective of these pieces is to provide a source of inspiration, purpose, education for folks living in the area, as well as visitors. We were in a meeting the other day with Tots and Valley Creates, and I see a few faces here, and somebody there, I won't say names, was sharing like, how about a garden? Would that be a talking wall? And many ideas flow about what it could be. I always like to share these ugly pictures because this is how spaces look without art. No, let's say no love, it's all painted, but it's all very gray, let's say. So again, let's go back to that time in 2020. We started talking to that organization of students that had so much energy about having these spaces created. And through those conversations with them, Mr. Arnold and the students, they connected us with Color Outside the Lines. One of the students was just at one of their events in Portland, and they just connected. And with them, this is an organization many of you know, I'm guessing, but it's just to empower and inspire youth, normally at-risk youth, in providing those spaces for art, music, and creativity. Basically what they do. That's when also the concept of providing these spaces, but with artists and students, but artists were acting as mentors. And this is something that we want to keep with the Talking Walls. It's not only the creation of murals, spaces, or pieces. It's also a space where artists come in and share with youth what it is to be an artist, have all those conversations that we were talking about that needed to be held. So this is Edmund. He worked with two students in creating his piece. Then we have Kira. She did an amazing job. Amara was a student with the Black Student Union. She was like, oh, I don't know. I don't have the experience. I'm not sure if I can do this. They worked together with a beautiful piece. The biggest one, I have to say. And aside from this, it was a space for conversation. So we had spoken word, we had the message garden and other activities on that working day. So this is our first Talking Walls. It was a great time for connecting. We have some Talk the Block activities. We had a lot of people visiting us. There was also a beautiful piece called, I don't know where it went. There they are. So as we go back, We see our empty closet spaces, and this is the final pieces. And this is located at Sunset Sports Complex, which is just next to Sunset High School. This is one piece. It's not a mural, but it was an idea that came from the students to create I Have a Dream, and you can see it from Cornell Road as you drive by. And all those little fists were created by participants and students that wanted to create the piece together. And then we have our next slide. Another opportunity also in 2020 in Greenway Park to create something beautiful in a different space. For this occasion, we're talking, it was November. We created a harvest themed event. For this event, 3 amazing Native artists participated, as well as Naya. There was like a truthistic creation, youth came as well, and they work with the students in creating their different pieces. This is Patrick, we have Toma. Toma did a storytelling session with students that also spoke about his mural. We have Rudy Redstone Serna. He also did an amazing job, and we had these 3 amazing murals right there. Again, there's shared moments, youth. We have youth that keep coming back to the different Talking Walls events, and it's just a form of connection and storytelling. And this is where it comes to our next session. We have a Talking Walls event happening on October 23rd. It's happening at the Howard M. Turpinning Complex, which is our main complex in THPRD. It's where our administration office is. It's a very, very big complex. For this one, we have a total of 7 Latinx artists. The theme for this series is belonging, pertenencia. And the objective is to have, again, youth participate with us. We're inviting folks from Beaverton School District, different connections. We've been sharing with many of you here, and we want to keep that invitation open. If you know of youth that would like to participate and collaborate with artists, please invite them. Of course, it has no cost. It's a free event. They just have to RSVP due to COVID, just to keep the numbers not too huge. And we would love to have them. Just important to say, it's a collaboration. It's partnerships and funds from different partners. And we're very thankful for them and their participation. And other than that, sharing the upcoming event, any thoughts or questions that you have about the project in general. And for you specifically, if you have ideas or thoughts, the things that you would like to make happen, what we call Art in the Park, feel free to reach out. We would love to hear all of these thoughts. We're also building policy work surrounding the Talking Walls to keep this project going. Because, for example, we have already 1 year from one of the murals, and that's going to be amazing. But then what happens in 2, 3, or 4 years? When do we replace them? Sometimes they just need a little bit of work and we keep them. Other times they have to be replaced, little things like that. Something that worries a lot of people is like, oh, how are they? How have they been kept in a good state? And it gets covered with a UV protectant and an anti-graffiti protectant, because you just never know, right? Even if it's a deterrent for graffiti, as a form of vandalism, we had to cover that. And so far we hadn't had to even test that coverage because it's being respected around the district. So that's good to know. And again, just to think of us and reach out. And I don't know if you have any questions, suggestions, follow up.
Thank you so much, Lulu. This is such essential work, and it's so great to see it happening. Thank you so much for sharing. And
thank you for the applauses.
And it's so exciting that there is an event just around the corner on October 23rd.
And I'm gonna share the link on your chat if you want youth, or of course, if you all want to go, you don't have to RSVP. You can just go and just check it out. RSVP is for youth because we're gonna have them in pods, working with one artist and then with the other.
Lulu, do you have a restriction on age?
Not really. Only if they're 12 and younger, we ask that somebody tutor an adult stays around in the complex. That's the only thing.
Okay, thank you.
I had a quick comment more than anything. I had dinner with some friends the other night, and a couple of them were from Bangladesh, and I was talking about how hard it's been for us on the commission to get more people involved and so on, to become more diverse on the board here and so on. And their comment was, get to the youth, because the first generation people are still too tied to their homeland or whatever, and it's the youth. So I kind of just throwing that out there as part of an idea as far as down the road. It's going to be a down the road maybe until we can get more diversity at this level, with the adults. But reaching out to the adults, kudos to you for doing that.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Lulu, on the previous murals, what was the average age of the participants?
It's a great question. We had students, many were 8, 9, 10, let's say 10, 12, those ages, and parents came with them in this little pod. But we had the rest, I would say 16 to 18. And for that being said, for Greenway, we had a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers, not as many younger ones. Yeah. So it's been mixed.
Good. This is like a good range then, it sounds like.
Yes. Yes.
Jim, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I love this. I completely love what she's saying. We need to get involved and make these happen. This is a project that we cannot pass up. I'm so on board. I love everything she showed. You got thumbs up.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree.
I will let the team know. They're going to be excited to hear. And of course, if you have any thoughts and, hey, how about this? You can always send those thoughts our way. There's lots to do. We need to do that policy because just to give it structure and keep it going strong.
Do you have a timeline in mind by chance, Lulu,
for policy? Yes, because we would love to ping you all on that. It will be until next year. That is for sure. But yeah, we're going to start moving on that direction.
Okay, great. Yes, please keep us posted.
Yes.
Ryan?
Just a quick throw out, since you're asking for some comment. When it comes to policy, you might want to think about policy because THPRD does a lot of construction, right? They do a lot of building parks and renovating parks and maintaining parks. Sometimes policies, when you get a bond or when you get capital improvement or donations, so that you can improve a park, maybe there's some policy about the creation and maintenance of art or talking walls, to continue the theme forward. So just my thought.
Thank you. That's a good one. Taking notes.
And Lulu, if there are other media that you're considering, we can talk offline for this, but I just got on the tail end of a community park down in King City. It was a pony wall that was the entrance to a community park that was a mosaic. So that's another avenue to explore, and I can put you in touch with some of those folks who are mosaic artists.
That would be amazing. I'll ping you. I think I saw your email somewhere there.
I just wanted to say one thing, Lulu. I also think this project's fantastic. I just wanted to say something in response to what Rebecca was saying about getting the youth involved. THPRD has been fantastic in that respect because I used to be on the parks as part of one of their committees. And we had several youth members on our committee who were looking for leadership opportunities. So I don't know what the rules are with the city, but there was no reason. We welcomed their input and got great ideas from them. And also we're able to get not only youth, but also different minority groups. All those kids were from different backgrounds. It was fantastic as far as I was concerned. So I don't see why the city couldn't be doing something like that, or at least our commission or something. I don't see why and it was really, really wonderful, because their enthusiasm and their desire to have input was just, it made everybody excited to be there. And they wanted those leadership opportunities. So we just need to be able to find a way to do that. I don't think it's that complicated myself, but I don't know the city rules about those things. So my 2 cents. But Lulu, the THPD, when I was there, was doing a great job with that.
Thanks everyone for your comments. Are there any other questions or comments at this time for Lulu?
I'm just thinking of a project that we did a while back, the vinyl wraps. Deb, you remember those? Some of you remember those there. And as a photographer, of course, I'm always looking for a way to get photography out there. But it was a great project to have. There was another project, Debbie, help me remember this, about there were at one of it was like a housing project or something. The kids there were learning photography and so on. And then they took their photography and made it into vinyl wraps and put it on like the side of the library and all over town. There were a lot of them. That might be something to think of too.
Yeah, that project is called Hello Neighbor.
Right, that was it, yeah.
It's, yeah, you look like you know exactly what we're talking about.
Photos. I didn't know the name. Hello Neighbor. Yes.
Hello Neighbor. Yeah, I'd be happy to be involved in that.
This is all very helpful. Thank you so much.
Jim, did you have a hand? Grace?
Yeah, well, this is not the side note. I think what we heard tonight, the presentation, we got to move forward on that. I think it's incredible. And what Rebecca was saying with the vinyl wraps, I think that should be resurrected. And because it was such a successful project that got abandoned, and it brings local artists into the fray to do vinyl wraps on all the garbage cans around. And I had people come in from all over the world to drive around with me. They looked at it. It was great, and it just got abandoned. But she's right. But we and we'll go back to I think we need to keep these things keep these things going. But I'm all on board for what I've heard tonight. It's great. Let's make this happen. Get a little off space here, but yeah, we're doing some good things here tonight. Let's push these things forward. They're good projects. We need these things. Beaverton needs them, and I'm absolutely on board for that.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so Lulu, you got a lot of support here.
Yes, exciting. Thank you so much. Team will be happy to hear.
Peg, did you have a hand?
Yeah, as one of the new people who I have seen the vinyl wraps. I don't remember the history. I don't know the history of how they happened. And I agree. It's a great idea. It was very visible. I suspect it wasn't terribly expensive. So what do we do? What do we need to do to make it happen, other than talk about it? What is the next step?
I think it's bringing Laura on board with that as a project going forward, don't you think, Deb? Because that's a city project more than the THPRD thing or something like that. But yeah, and that's something we can do in isolation from one another. I mean, it's not something that we have to get together to do. And they did a call to artists for pieces. I mean, there was photography and painting and all these different things. And I don't know how many submissions they got, but they had maybe 100 garbage cans around town or however many. And they chose that many. And I think we got $100. I had a trash can. I had kind of mixed feelings about it, I have to say, but I had a trash can that you know, the artist got a little something out of it. And, you know, every time I drive up Hall Boulevard by that trash can, it's like, oh, there's my little picture, you know. So it's something that I think Laura would put on, right, Deb? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you guys need to put it on an agenda and talk about it, start that way. And then Laura will have to be brought up to speed on why they took them down and how the city feels about them, and maybe not on garbage cans, but
yeah.
Part of the problem was the garbage cans had an aggregate surface, and so they just started looking really ratty.
Yeah,
and
they peeled off.
So that was the main reason. It wasn't abandoned as much as it was they needed to come off because they didn't look so good.
Yeah, but they were up there for a year or two. I mean, they lasted pretty long.
Well, look into that. That it was such a success that we were going to do electrical boxes, and it didn't seem feasible because you have the heat issue. They were going to expand it, you know, and it was sort of a bang for a buck. You know, you can't keep doing this because it doesn't diminishing returns, but it was also because of the Earth Center. These are two separate things, and I think that was such a great project that got abandoned, and we can bring it back and make it even better and expand it. This is something I think we got to do coming out of kind of our situation where we've been a little dormant. That is it. That's one that I'm going to get behind with Rebecca. That you know, get the local artists involved in doing these things and expand them. It's not that expensive. I think we can do it. And you know, the last couple of years, where's our money been going? You know, why don't we have this? Where's our money? Where's the money been spent? You know, because we don't know. We're not seeing it on local arts. You know, and that's one that kind of sticks with me. That should not have been abandoned. Enough said.
Peg?
Yeah, there are other things besides trash cans that can be wrapped. Tualatin wraps the machines that run traffic lights and other things like that. So there are other ways to do this besides trash cans. And I'm with you, Rebecca and Jim. This is kind of a no-brainer. It's relatively easy, it seems, and it should be something that could be done and is visible and brings the art to everybody who happens to see it. Kind of meets all of our criteria for why we're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in on whatever it is to take, whatever it takes to make it happen.
Oh, Peg, you know what you could do? Peg is a fiber artist, and you know, downtown Portland, they had people that came out and knitted like little sweaters on the sculptures and stuff.
It's yarn bombing. Yes.
Yarn bombing. There you go. Wouldn't that be fun? I mean, really.
It's very temporary, but it's colorful, and it makes you stop and look and say, wow, look at that. Yeah.
Or Sharon bring the mosaics onto those trash cans, you know, those aggregate trash cans, and make them into something pretty. Don't you think?
So just a point of order to, you know, help move it along. It'd be great to have Alison put it on the agenda for next month so that Laura can come prepared. Okay. I assume that she's happy to put it on the agenda and we don't have to do a motion to do it, but you know, we should make sure that the city's prepared to come and say where it's at and what resources they may or may not have, or what we would have to do to, you know, energize it again, and what it would mean for a singular event or a prolonged type of venture. So I think if we can get it on the agenda, give the city some time to let us know what is feasible, and then we can have a discussion with a proper amount of time to talk through it. So.
Yeah, I trust Laura is going to be watching this, so she'll.
Yeah. I have a quick question, and that has to do with subcommittees and public art. I have no knowledge about whether this falls into that because I just joined that one today. is that something that fits within that particular subcommittee? For those who have been on it? Shelley, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you.
So you're asking if the wraps are part of the public art committee?
Was it?
It was something that Elaine actually was the one who spearheaded it.
Right, it was a city program.
It was a city program, and, but we got to see the presentation and give a blessing, but we didn't necessarily get to choose the art. So,
got it.
So the public arts, and because it's in a public space, would have to approve the use of the space to present the art, but they wouldn't necessarily have to come up and do that function. So.
Since we're off agenda time, I like Ryan's idea to table it for the agenda item for next time. And I think Ryan would be a great timekeeper for the next meeting. So Alison, if we can move on, maybe that would.
Thank you. So we will, thank you so much. So we will continue this conversation at our next meeting. Thank you again to Lulu for joining us and for sharing with us.
Thank you.
So appreciate you taking the time to come, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. Please keep us posted on updates as this moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next agenda item is public comment. I see one visitor, Razier. Hello, welcome.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I just want to give you guys, I'm going to wear my 2D4D hat today rather than my Tualatin Valley Creates hat. And I just want to give you two quick updates. First, to thank the Beaverton Arts Commission for supporting us with the La Strada de Pastelli Chalk Art Festival in August. As you know, we were planning in a pandemic and we were able to partner with the Beaverton Night Market. And I just wanted to give you some of the exciting stats for how we did. We don't have attendance numbers, but obviously thousands. For many of you who are part of the La Strada volunteer team, you know how many people were there and all the smiling faces and smiling cheeks underneath their masks, and lots of multiple generations coming to an outdoor event together. There were grandparents and kids in strollers and teenagers with fellow teenagers. It was really special to be able to have something in person, you know, still monitoring all the health safety. I'm really grateful that we had a sponsorship from Office Depot, and they gave us 8 giant hand sanitizer tubs. And then, so those were everywhere. But, you know, when it came to like who was on the back end and really who was involved, we were able to bring in 8 professional artists, professional nationally recognized chalk artists. We had lots of people fly in. We had help from Mike, who's a city staff member, to find them lodging in the new Hyatt. So all those artists got to walk around downtown downtown Beaverton. Even Joel Yao, he went to the local barber and had his hair done on Monday morning. They got to go experience the BG Food Cartel. They went to Siam Lotus. So, you know, these artists are coming and really having the immersive experience themselves, being able to see the core of our downtown. We had 19 local performers. So Jim worked with a fellow volunteer, Rob, and so that brought out like the group Bach to Rock, which is a youth music group based out of Tannisbourne. They had the cutest DJ. She wore her mask, and she's a ginger, and she had her backpack on, and she had her own DJ name, and I wish I knew it. But you know, they brought out youth. We also worked with Hula Halau, who did costume dancers. We had kind of a makeshift stage in front of Ichabod. And then that ties into really planning in a pandemic. We utilized the properties of our downtown Beaverton businesses to do our chalk. So I hope you guys have all seen the 3D that was in front of Lionheart Coffee. So Lionheart is kind of the host for the Beaverton Dining Commons. We like to credit them for being the space for our 3D image, which was 20 foot by 25 foot. We also did 3 images in front of Ichabod's Bar and Grill, who was also the host for chalk events. Like, they've been a sponsor since the beginning of this festival. We've done lots of chalk stuff in front of them. And then they did a mural in 2020 that is a pretty neat like nighttime scene with the 1970s brass chandelier, if you guys haven't seen it yet. We did chalk art in front of Covenant Clock, and then also Joel's chalk art in front of Jan's paperback books. And so it was really with the help of those businesses that we were still able to have this event. And then we, with your guys' support, we bundled, and really with Pam and Ryan, we bundled 583 chalk kits. So that was I think I came to you guys, Jayne really helped pitch it and say, hey, let's put some sponsorship money behind something we can give away to the families that they can take home, they can draw in their own yards or their own driveways. If they can't make it to the event, we have something. And so altogether we did 583 of them. We gave them all away in front of the farmer's market. And Sharon, you gave a big stack of them away as well. And in those kits, it had not only a blurb about La Strada that was upcoming, but also a small blurb about the Beaverton Arts Program and instructions on how to play with chalk pastel, how to do drawing without using black, a little bit about the history of pastel art as a 500-year-old tradition. So it was really something that was very all-inclusive in this one little tiny pack where they received multiple colors of a semi-professional chalk quality. And really, and to give kudos to Blaich Art Supplies as well, because they have been one of our material sponsors, again, since the beginning. They've really helped us. And anytime you go in there, you will see La Strada stuff plastered everywhere. So give them a little nudge and a thank you for supporting this event. Beyond the weekend of the event, we also did 6 chalk buzz builders. And although this year's buzz builders weren't as much the hands-on like we've done in 2019, where the kids really get to play, we were still able to commission professional artists. So we were still able to get money into the hands of our local working artists. And so those buzz builders included doing work with Boom Arts Theater, who is Portland based, but they did their activities in Northeast Portland and some of the poorer neighborhoods. And they actually did like time capsules. So the chalk art was done on roll-up roofing paper, and all the community members came and they like told stories and they wrote down words. And it was really neat to see your work, Gina, because it was not only visual, but it was also literary captures. And then they roll up the artwork and it's a time capsule for what they've been going through quarantine and being away from their friends. And then at that time, it was like actually being able to come out and be together again. And we also did chalk with the library. If you guys got to go see the library, that was on August 5th. And then with Cedar Hills Crossing. And we were working really hard to do some stuff with THPRD, and it looks like Lulu left, but I work with some of her counterparts in the other sections of her office. And then there were 21 businesses involved in this effort. So although it wasn't like the giant posters and banners and the grandeur of our entire event, there was still a lot of businesses involved, and that's what it takes to make a community event happen. So I want to thank you guys, one, for your own time that you continue to commit to this event, the Arts Commission and the Arts Program for the funding that you've committed to this event, and really thank you to the community who's embraced this event and let us kind of experiment over the last few years and just really let us play. And so I wanted you guys to know the work that we've been doing for La Strada. The other thing I'm here to tell you guys about, because you guys are agents of spreading what's going on in the arts, you are the liaison for what's available here in the community, is that the Cultural Coalition of Washington County has their grants open right now. So their deadline for these grants is Monday, October 18th by midnight. These grants are available for nonprofit organizations or organizations that are partnering with a nonprofit organization, and they are $1,000, $2,000, and $5,000. And I have to tell you that they're not that hard to get. So if you guys know nonprofit organizations or artists who are working with another nonprofit who might not be an arts nonprofit, they might be a social services nonprofit or Virginia Garcia or any of the other local nonprofits in our Washington County area, that here is a funding source. And between you and me, if you have a pulse, you can get it. So please help spread the word that this funding source is available. And they have until Monday, 11:59 p.m. to apply. So I put that grant link in the chat, and I also put the link to this year's La Strada's photos in the chat as well. And I have a post-it note on my desk to put La Strada's videos on the website. So if you check tomorrow, the videos will be on there. Yeah. So thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, Razier. And thank you for the links in the chat also. Thanks. All right, our next item, approvals. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review the minutes that Laura sent out beforehand. And as always, a huge thank you to April for serving as recorder. Thank you so much for putting the time in on preparing those minutes and putting them together for us. Are there any amendments that anyone would like to propose on the minutes, or any questions or changes? Doesn't look like it. Do we have someone who would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Make a motion to approve it.
So Jim's made the motion to approve as written. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Was that Sue?
Yes.
Okay. Sue seconded. So it's moved and seconded that we approve the minutes as written. Are there any other further discussion points? Okay, it doesn't look like it. So we're ready to vote. The question is, should we approve the September minutes as written? All those in favor, please raise your hand or give a thumbs up since we're on Zoom. Okay, and all those opposed, please raise a hand or a thumbs down. And are there any abstentions? Ryan, you're abstaining?
Yeah, I figure since I wasn't there, I shouldn't, you know, vote on it.
All right, and Lynn, since your video's off, we didn't see your vote. Can you verbally tell us?
Yes.
Yes, you're in approval. Okay.
Yes.
Great. So it looks like we are approved. Thank you, everyone. Next up, staff liaison updates with Debi Thompson. Debi, you're on mute.
Thank you. Okay, the city updates are, again, they are reiterating to keep up the fight against COVID. And now that fall is here and school's back in session, we're beginning to see decreases in COVID-19 throughout the state. Let's all do our part to keep hospitalizations down and vaccination rates up. So as we near the end of the year, they go on to reiterate what they did. This is the same message as I talked about last month. There's really nothing new in here, just saying that the vaccination is the safest and most effective way to protect yourself from COVID-19 and others. And if you want to know more about vaccines, you can go to the Washington County website about vaccines or beavertonoregon.gov coronavirus, which also talks about specifically the city of Beaverton and city resources that may be available. And that, again, that's beavertonoregon.gov/coronavirus. The next point here is the Beaverton Resource Fair, which is tomorrow. No, wait, October 16th. Sorry, that is, what day is that? That is this Saturday. So this Saturday, there's the Beaverton Resource Fair. It's at the city library. And it's a great place for families to connect with nonprofits that serve them. The event is at 10 a.m. and it ends at 1 p.m. at the Beaverton City Library, main library. And they welcome all organizations that provide healthcare and wellness resources, education and recreation, as well as help with housing, food, and energy assistance. This event is free and fun for the whole family with activities for kids, free giveaways, and a raffle. For a full list of participating organizations, you can go to the library's website at beavertonlibrary.org. As you know, the Beaverton Arts Mix virtual art show and sale is going on right now. It ends on Sunday, October the 17th. And again, there are over 200 juried fine artworks for sale. And that represents 109 artists that are participating in this show. These are just, when you go to the website, it's at beavertonoregon.gov/BAM. It says a little bit about the art show. There are pictures on there that show you who the award winners are. And then once you click the link to the show, if you're interested in learning more about that artist's artwork or purchasing any of their artwork or seeing if they have prints available, you contact the artist directly, and all of that information is on the website. Next month, I'll be able to give a report of how many people actually viewed the art show over the 2 weeks that it has been up. As you know, the boards and commissions recruitment has ended, and the BEC has received 11 applications. We will be advancing our recommendations for finalist interviews with Mayor Beatty tomorrow on October 14th, and interviews will be held on November 9th. The exact interview schedule is to be determined. And the next Public Art Advisory Committee is tentatively scheduled for October 20th at 5 p.m. Laura will be reaching out with final meeting details. This was the date that we had the greatest committee member availability. Thank you for your prompt replies. And that's it.
Okay.
Debbie, can you repeat that very last part one more time? I was still talking, I was typing fast. Just that very last announcement.
Yes. The Public Art Advisory Committee is scheduled for October 20th, tentatively scheduled for October 20th at 5 p.m. Laura will be reaching out with final meeting details. The reason the date so far is October 20th is because the greatest number of committee members were available on that date.
Thank you so much. That's what I missed. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any more questions?
I had a question, Deb. Rebecca here. You got 11 applications for how many positions on the board? Do you know?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I can I can find that and put it in the chat.
Yeah, if you do, that would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm re-upped again, and it's like, oh,
yeah. You know, to Rebecca's point, I'm wondering how many of those are re-ups out of those 11. That'd be interesting to know,
I know. Yes, right. Exactly. Like how many are new and how many are re-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the applications. I don't know any of that. Laura would, but I'm sure she'll give you, well, let's see. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the timing of everything. I'm sure she'll have a lot more information at the next meeting.
No worries. I just thought maybe it would be interesting data.
It would be, yes.
Okay, are there any other questions for Debbie at this time? Okay, thanks so much, Debbie.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for being easy on me.
All right, our next item, subcommittee report backs. This is an opportunity for any subcommittees that have met to give an update to the whole commission. And it looks like there's an update from the Grants and DEI Committee.
Okay, does anyone want to speak to it, or do you want me to? Okay. We did meet, and I just wanted to, let everybody know we did meet, and we did come up with a few ideas. I didn't prepare any sort of notes because I didn't really realize that I was supposed to speak on what we met about. So if anyone else from the committee wants to jump in, feel free.
Well, one thing that we were looking into is the grants applications and how accessible those were. And so we went into the website and found out that, yes, you can have it translated into other languages. So we're really happy about that. And then we talked about how we can do a better job of getting the word out to diverse communities so that we get more people applying for the grants.
Great. Thank you, Lynn and April, for those updates. And are there any other subcommittee updates at this time? Okay, it doesn't look like it. So we will move on to our next item, arts happenings and announcements. This is a time for commissioners to share any announcements about upcoming arts events or projects or anything of that sort. Jayne.
I have many, so I'll try to be quick, and I'll also put the links in the chat. As many of you know, I work with Razier as a staff member on Tualatin Valley Creates, and we have an exciting workshop coming up tomorrow. It's called How to Find a Fiscal Sponsor, and I'll put that link in the chat, but it's on Zoom, so you don't have to worry about going anywhere. And it's from, let me see here, 4 to 6. And we have a great speaker, and I'll put that information in the chat too. So you can just register on Eventbrite and attend that 2-hour workshop. Another one we have coming up, it's a networking event with our very own Rebecca Benoit, and she's going to do a networking, again, virtual on Zoom, on digital photography. And the way that works on Zoom, it's a 1-hour networking event, is that you introduce yourself, and she and artist colleague Carly Schultz, who is a metal and jewelry artist, will be doing a discussion on digital photography and how that will work with your art pieces. And it'll be an interactive discussion. So we'll have that, and I'll put that link because you do have to register for that also in the chat. And then those of you that work with youth, teenagers, 18 through, help me out here, Razier, is it 18 through 14 through 19. We have a very cool workshop coming up. It's called the Teen Portfolio Review, and we have 4 local artists, theater, photography, illustration, and music, that are going to come and work with 20 different teens in their different modalities and critique their work. It's a 2-part session, and the first workshop is coming up on November 6th. It's a Saturday, also on Zoom. So I wanted to make you all aware of that. And the last thing I want to talk about, and Razier, you can help me out here, because it's a brand new program that Tualatin Valley Creates is offering. It's called Art Pass. And for $25 annually, you can be connected to businesses in Washington County area and get discounts on restaurants, art supplies, theater, community organizations, and more. And those of you that are artists or have small businesses, you can join for free and get free visibility to your businesses or your art by just registering and becoming a business, where the community members who join as members can take advantage of discounts. And they don't even have to be discounts, they can be perks, like spend a lunch hour with you finding out about your art, or how to weave, or how to do photography, those types of things. So I will put that information in the chat too, because it's great for you if you have a business, or you if you want to have get discounts in the community. So those were the things that I had. Razier, did I do okay there?
Nailed it. You got them all. So
Of course.
And I'm the timer too, so I talked fast.
Now's the time to ask for the raise, Jane.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Let me put that in the chat too.
Hey, Jane, did you put a link to those workshops in the chat? Or
no,
I miss it?
I haven't multitasked that well yet, but I'll do that right now.
Okay, great. Sorry, I was.
No worries, no worries.
Awesome, thank you, Jane. Any other announcements or Peg?
This is a kind of a personal thing, but I thought that the new Cultural Trust license plates looked really cool. So I got one, and it came today, and I thought it is just wonderful. And I like the idea of supporting all of the cultural events and things that they do. So I'm just plugging the license plates.
Great, thank you.
I
think it went live, what, October 1st, I think, is when they became available. So
yeah, and it happened that my renewal was up in like 5 days. And so I ordered them through DMB. I think you can go to the Cultural Trust site and order them as well. And I ordered it just a few days ago and it came today. Thank goodness I didn't have to double pay. So
great, providential timing.
Absolutely.
I have one and it's not that pretty. It's not as pretty as yours, but it's
these are the brand new ones that they just done.
Yeah, that's really pretty.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Mine is all orange. I like yours better.
Yeah.
I would love to add, thank you, Peg, for being an example of supporting the arts across the state. The funding from the license plates helps fund the grants that go to the cultural coalitions across the state. And if Debbie, if they haven't reached out to you yet, the Oregon Cultural Trust wants to do presentations about the annual tax credit. And so a synopsis of it is, right, we all end up owing individual income taxes to the state of Oregon every year, and they're pretty brutal about it. But if you contribute to an arts or culture nonprofit somewhere in the state, and then you contribute to the Cultural Trust, a matching contribution to the Cultural Trust, then that is a 1-to-1 tax reduction off your Oregon income taxes. So if you give $250 to, I'm going to throw 12 $10 creates in there, and you give $250 to the Oregon Cultural Trust, it's a 1-to-1 reduction on your personal income taxes. That money is then reallocated to arts organizations across the state. And really specifically, if you're a Washington County resident and you're donating to the trust, that money really does come right back to Washington County. So Oregon is one of the only states that does programs like this. And it's wonderful to be part of it, to really be part of the cultural ecosystem in our state. So Peg, I'm super jealous of you. And
it was just great timing that my tags were up anyway.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Great, thanks, Rosier. Appreciate that.
Hey, Allison, can we reach out to the Cultural Trust to do a presentation on that? Because it'd be really great information for us to know and share with our arts community in general to spread the word. And I think it would just bolster the state of Oregon as well as the city of Beaverton. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that would be great for an upcoming agenda. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Sharon, yes.
So just as a reminder, the Washington County Open Studios is this weekend. And as the official cat herder on the board, we are greater than 80% of the artists are going to participate in person. We have some alternatives for those who are not, but we've got 48, 56, about 60 artists represented. And so the maps are out there and you can go on the website and find that, and it will click in real time who is participating and the few who are not. But it's this weekend, just as a reminder.
Great, thanks, Sharon. Any other announcements at this time? Okay, oh, Debbie? Was that a?
Sorry, I was gonna mention something earlier. Do you guys know about Survivorscape at the Public Safety Center building? It is 6 pieces of artwork that were created by an artist that was commissioned to represent what a girl went through regarding domestic violence. They're called cloudscapes. They're beautiful. And we just hung them in the lobby today. So I'll put the word, put it in there, but if you just Google Survivorscape Beaverton or Beaverton Police, there's a website with the pictures of the artwork. And it's a really big title card because there several people have written their comments about the piece of artwork and what it means to them. So there's the parents of the victim, or sorry, I was a victim advocate, and in the world of law, they're called victims, but in other realms, they're called survivors. So forgive me if I go back and forth on that. But the survivor, her name is Eloise, and she wrote her thoughts on the work and what she went through. Her parents, the chief of police, the victim advocate coordinator, and also Washington County prosecutor. And they each said something about domestic violence and how it affects the whole community. And it's a beautiful piece of art. The family calls it conversational art. And it's just a really perfect piece to put in their brand new lobby. When you walk into that lobby, it's all the colors are very neutral, and there's a lot of white and a lot of windows. It's a beautiful building, but you walk in now and there's these 6 pieces of art, of cloudscape artwork, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm not encouraging you to go into the lobby of the police department, but you know, why not? We don't want to tell the whole city to do that, but you can also just go on the website. But I encourage you to just walk in and take a look at it.
Thank you, Debbie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Any other announcements at this time? Also, Jane, Laura, and I just wanted to throw on the table for folks to start thinking about whether they might be interested in serving on the next retreat planning committee. You know, we're not discussing it, of course, tonight, but just to start thinking if that's something you might want to sign up for. And we'll talk about that at probably our November meeting, so that planning can get underway so that the retreat can happen early on next year. So just start thinking about it. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for your advocacy for the arts, and take care, and we'll see you all soon.
Do we have any agenda items for the next meeting?
So it's sounding like a discussion about, or a presentation about the current status of vinyl wraps and that project with the city, where that stands. Hopefully, if the scheduling and availability works out, the Oregon Cultural Trust tax incentive. And as always, if there's any other agenda items that people would like to see at a future meeting, of course, feel free to email those in too, if the idea comes up in between our meetings.
Alison, do we want people to start thinking about topics for the retreat, maybe so we can have that discussion at the next meeting?
Yes, thank you. So please start thinking about retreat topics, as well as whether you would like to serve on a planning committee for that. Thank you, Jane.
Sure.
And do we know when the retreat's going to be?
No, we don't know that yet. I think that would be a good task for the planning committee.
There's that.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Thanks to our recorder, April, and thank you to our timekeeper, Jane, again.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alison.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night,
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.